The Silent Watchers. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Alliance gleamed under the light of 3 artificial suns. Representatives from 200 species filled the chamber, their voices a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. High Chancellor Exorix of the Meltharian Dominion raised his 4 arms, calling for silence. The chamber quieted as the enormous blue-skinned diplomat leaned toward the central projection. "We have discovered a new system," he announced, his voice resonating through translator nodes. "Isolated, unexplored, rich with resources." The holographic display shifted to show a yellow star with 9 planets. Sorix gestured to the 3rd planet, a blue-green jewel against the void. The dominant species calls themselves humans. Primitive, technologically stunted, but numerous. Our preliminary scans suggest they've barely mastered basic spaceflight. They're confined to their planet and a small orbital station. Ambassador Thriel of the Cephian Collective chittered skeptically, her insectoid head tilted as she examined the projection. If they're so primitive, why haven't they been claimed by any empire? This sector borders several territories. Kelrix's upper arms made a dismissive gesture. The system lies within the shrouded expanse. Navigational anomalies have kept it isolated. Until now. The projection zoomed in on Earth, showing cities, oceans, and the movements of vessels across its surface. The humans appear peaceful, divided into competing nations, unaware of galactic politics. Kelrix continued. Their planet contains rare minerals in abundance. Preliminary assessments suggest minimal resistance to resource extraction operations. In the shadows of the chamber, Ambassador Vereen of the ancient Elidorian remnant stirred. The diminutive silver-skinned diplomat rarely spoke at council meetings, representing a species so old they had witnessed the rise and fall of dozens of galactic civilizations. "I advise caution." Vereen's voice was barely a whisper, yet it carried throughout the chamber. "There are records in our archives about this region. Old warnings." Laughter rippled through the hall. Ambassador Krell of the Varaxian Empire, a massive reptilian creature, bared his teeth in what passed for a smile among his kind. The Elidorians and their warnings, always seeing ghosts in the void. More laughter followed. "If these humans are as primitive as described, they'll make excellent laborers in the extraction operations." Vereen's silver eyes narrowed. "The warnings speak of sleepers, of a species that appears harmless but carries fire in their hearts." Ulrich waved away the concern. "The preliminary expedition will establish contact and assess their usefulness. The vote is called. Who stands for immediate resource acquisition?" Arms, tentacles, and appendages of various forms raised throughout the chamber. Only Vereen and a handful of older species abstained. The decision was made. The Galactic Alliance would claim Earth. Captain Morith of the exploration vessel Boundless Discovery approached Earth with standard protocols. His ship, cloaked against detection, observed the humans for a full planetary cycle before making contact. "Fascinating creatures," his xenobiologist remarked, watching footage of human cities. "They fight constantly among themselves, yet they've created art and music of surprising complexity." Morith scrolled through the data. Their technological development is erratic. Advanced in some areas, primitive in others. Their weapons are chemical-based projectiles and crude explosives, nothing that could threaten our vessels. "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "I've been monitoring their information networks. They appear to have extensive fictional accounts of contact with alien species." "Oh." Morith's 4 eyes blinked with amusement. "Yes, sir. Many of these accounts describe hostile encounters. Invasions, wars with extraterrestrials. Imagination often runs wild among primitive species," Morith dismissed. "Prepare the contact protocols. We'll approach their largest governmental body first." The Boundless Discovery decloaked over a city the humans called New York, causing predictable panic. Morith broadcast the Alliance's standard greeting across all frequencies, assuring the humans they came in peace. Within hours, human representatives met with Morith's diplomatic team. The captain was surprised by their composure. Fear, yes, but controlled, measured. "We welcome you to Earth," their representative said, a female called President Chen. "We've long speculated about intelligent life beyond our world." Morith recited the prepared speech about friendship, cooperation, and the benefits of joining the Galactic Alliance. The humans listened politely, asked thoughtful questions, and agreed to further discussions. Too easy, Morith thought. He'd expected more resistance, more fear. During the third day of negotiations, his security chief requested a private meeting. "Sir, something isn't right," the officer said, mandibles clicking nervously. "Explain." "The humans are hiding something. Their technology. What we're seeing doesn't match what we're detecting. There are energy signatures beneath their cities, their oceans, even their moon that contradict their supposed technological level." Morith dismissed the concerns. "Anomalous readings. Perhaps natural formations your sensors are misinterpreting." "Sir, with respect, I've also noticed their military forces. They're positioning themselves strategically around our landing sites. Not aggressively, but watchfully. They're cautious, as any species would be. Continue the protocols." Within weeks, the Alliance established outposts on Earth to begin preliminary mineral surveys. The humans offered minimal resistance to the Alliance claims on certain territories, abandoned regions, unpopulated areas. They continued diplomatic relations with seeming cooperation. 3 months into the occupation, the diggers found something beneath an ice sheet on the continent humans called Antarctica. An ancient structure, not of human design. The excavation team reported their findings to Morith. "It appears to be a warning beacon, sir, approximately 15,000 years old. The language is archaic, but our linguists have managed a partial translation." "What does it say?" Morith asked, feeling a flutter of unease for the first time. "Guardians, rest here. Do not disturb the sleepers. Do not provoke the watchers of soul." "The rest is unclear, sir." Morith hesitated before asking, "What species left this warning?" "That's the concerning part, sir. It appears to be Eladorian." The captain remembered Ambassador Varine's warning, but pushed the thought aside. "Continue operations. Inform the xenorchaeology team." The diggers continued their work, pushing deeper into Earth's crust to reach the valuable mineral deposits. Human protests began to grow as Alliance operations expanded, damaging ecosystems and displacing communities. Morith requested additional security forces. 6 months into the occupation, the first Alliance outpost went silent. An isolated research station in what humans called the Amazon rainforest simply stopped transmitting. The security team sent to investigate found the outpost intact but empty. 57 Alliance personnel had vanished without a trace. No signs of struggle, no blood, no evidence of what had happened. 2 days later, a mining operation in the human territory of Australia went dark. Then an administrative center in Africa. Within a week, 23 Alliance facilities had been affected, nearly 1,000 personnel missing. Morith requested emergency reinforcements from the Alliance and instituted martial protocols. The human representatives expressed concern and offered assistance. Assistance Morith no longer trusted. "They're behind this," he told his senior staff. "They must be." His intelligence officer shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, we'd found no evidence linking humans to the disappearances. Our surveillance shows no unusual movements of their military forces." "Then who?" Morith demanded. "Who else could it be?" No one had an answer. The Alliance Council dispatched a battle group to Earth, led by Commander Drakus of the Varaxian Empire. The massive warships entered orbit with weapons charge, a show of force meant to intimidate the humans into revealing what had happened to the missing Alliance personnel. President Chen requested an emergency meeting with the Alliance commanders. "You're making a mistake," she told them, her expression grave. "The disappearances aren't our doing." "Then explain them," Drakus growled, towering over the human. "We can't," she admitted. "But escalation will only make things worse. There are forces at work here beyond your understanding. Is that a threat? Dracus leaned forward, baring sharp teeth. No, Chen said quietly. It's a warning. Dracus laughed, a harsh sound. The Alliance doesn't take warnings from primitive species. You have one planetary cycle to return our people, or we begin orbital bombardment of your major cities. After the humans departed, Morith approached Dracus privately. Commander, perhaps we should consider the possibility that the humans are telling the truth, the ancient warning we found. Superstition. Dracus cut him off. These humans are hiding something, and I intend to find out what. That night, every Alliance vessel in orbit around Earth lost communication with each other simultaneously. When systems were restored 3 minutes later, Commander Dracus's flagship was gone. Not destroyed. Simply vanished, along with the 12,000 crew members aboard. Panic spread through the remaining fleet. Morith, now the ranking officer, ordered an emergency transmission to Alliance headquarters, requesting immediate evacuation. The response came quickly. Hold position. Full battle fleet en route. Secure the planet at all costs. Morith stared at the message in disbelief. Secure the planet. Against what? They still had no idea what they were fighting. As the Alliance reinforcements entered the Sol system a week later, Admiral Zorek of the Meltharian Dominion took command of the operation. 1,000 warships moved into position around Earth, the largest military force assembled in a century. We will show these humans the consequence of defying the Alliance, Zorek declared. The Earth's surface remained calm. No unusual activities. No massive military deployments. The humans continued their daily lives as if unaware of the armada assembling above them. Then, as the Alliance fleet prepared to launch their first strike, every artificial satellite orbiting Earth suddenly activated, emitting a synchronized pulse of energy unlike anything Alliance sensors had ever detected. And from the dark side of Earth's moon, from beneath the surface of its oceans, and from hidden bases scattered across the planet, ships emerge. Human ships, thousands of them. Sleek black vessels that Alliance sensors couldn't properly track. Ships that moved with impossible speed and precision. Ships armed with weapons that cut through Alliance defenses as if they were made of paper. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, half the Alliance fleet was destroyed. The other half fled in disarray, jumping to hyperspace with damaged systems and terrified crews. Morith, watching from the command center of his vessel, finally understood. The humans had never been primitive at all. They had been waiting, watching, and the Alliance had walked straight into their trap. Awakening the storm. High Chancellor Zorek stared at the projection with disbelief. Half the Alliance battle fleet, destroyed or scattered by a species that supposedly had barely mastered spaceflight. The emergency session of the Council had been in progress for hours, degenerating into accusations and panic. The reports must be exaggerated, Ambassador Krell insisted, his scales flaring with agitation. No primitive species could defeat our finest warships. Varine of the Elidorian remnant stepped into the center of the chamber, silver skin gleaming. The humans are not primitive. They never were. The chamber fell silent. My ancestors encountered humanity 10,000 years ago, Varine continued. They found a species of terrifying potential, a species that advanced more rapidly than any we had seen before, a species that turned to war as easily as breathing. The holographic display shifted to show ancient Elidorian records, images of human warriors facing Elidorian explorers, of primitive but effective weapons that had claimed Elidorian lives. We recognized the danger they posed to themselves and the galaxy, but we also saw their capacity for growth, for understanding. Rather than exterminate them, as many would have chosen, we made an arrangement. Hexorix leaned forward. What arrangement? The humans would isolate themselves within their solar system, developing at their own pace without outside interference. In return, we placed beacons warning other spacefaring civilizations to avoid their world. Why would they agree to isolation? Someone asked. Because they needed time, Vareen said simply. Time to mature. Time to unite their world. Time to develop technologies that would earn them a place among the stars. We estimated they would need another millennium before they were ready. But that doesn't explain their ships, their weapons, Krell objected. The technology they displayed is beyond even our capabilities. They've had 10,000 years of uninterrupted development, Vareen replied. Development driven by the most powerful force in their psychology, their fear of invasion. The fictional accounts your explorers discovered weren't mere imagination. They were preparation. The council chamber erupted in voices. Accusations, denials, demands for immediate military response. Oryx raised his arms for silence. If what you say is true, why didn't the humans reveal their true capabilities when we first contacted them? Vareen's expression was unreadable. Perhaps they were assessing your intentions. Perhaps they were giving you a chance to leave peacefully. A chance the Alliance had squandered. Admiral Terrace of the Alliance Strategic Command reviewed the battle footage for the 12th time. The human vessels moved like nothing he'd ever seen, ignoring conventional physics, appearing and disappearing from sensors at will. Their technology doesn't make sense, he told the War Council. They're using principles we don't understand. The hastily assembled War Council consisted of the Alliance's finest military minds, gathered to counter the human threat. The mood was grim. What about their numbers? General Viss of the Cephian Collective asked. How many ships do they have? Unknown, Terrace admitted. We detected approximately 3,000 vessels during the battle, but intelligence suggests they have production facilities throughout their system. On moons, asteroids, possibly even artificial constructions we haven't detected. And their weapons? Energy-based, but unlike anything in our arsenal. They cut through our shields without resistance. Some vessels reported their systems simply shutting down when targeted by human weapons. No damage, just complete power failure. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. What do they want? Someone finally asked. That was the question haunting the Alliance leadership. The humans had made no demands, issued no ultimatums. After destroying half the Alliance fleet, they had simply returned to their hidden bases, waiting. The answer came 3 days later, when every communication system throughout Alliance space simultaneously received the same message. On countless worlds, screens displayed the image of a human female, the one called President Chen. People of the Galactic Alliance, she began, her voice calm and measured. For 10,000 years, humanity has observed a pact of isolation, developing our civilization without interference. We have used this time to prepare for our eventual emergence onto the galactic stage. The image shifted to show Alliance mining operations on Earth, the environmental damage, the displaced human communities. When your explorers arrived, we chose to present ourselves as less advanced than we are. We wanted to understand your intentions, to see if you would approach us with respect or with conquest in mind. Her expression hardened almost imperceptibly. You chose conquest. You dismissed our concerns. You threatened our world. And so we have been forced to reveal a fraction of our true capabilities. The image returned to Chen's face. We do not seek war. We do not seek vengeance for your violations of our sovereignty. What we seek is recognition. Humanity will no longer hide its light. We will take our place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as equals. The message ended with a simple set of coordinates, the location for a diplomatic meeting. The Alliance Council debated for days. Some advocated gathering the remainder of their military might for a final assault on Earth. Others suggested negotiation while secretly developing weapons to counter human technology. Ambassador Vareen offered another perspective. You still don't understand what you're facing, the ancient diplomat said. The humans could have destroyed your entire fleet. They could have attacked your worlds. They chose restraint. Out of weakness, Krell insisted. Out of strength, Vareen corrected. The greatest strength of all. The ability to hold back when you have the power to destroy. In the end, a diplomatic mission was authorized. High Chancellor Exorix himself would lead it, accompanied by representatives from the major Alliance species. They would meet the humans at the designated coordinates, a small, uninhabited planet at the edge of human space. When the Alliance delegation arrived, they found a singular human vessel waiting, sleek and black like the warships, but clearly designed for diplomatic functions. President Chen greeted them personally, leading them to a conference chamber designed to accommodate the various physiologies of the Alliance representatives. "Thank you for coming," Chen began. "This is a historic moment for both our peoples." Horix straightened his massive frame. "The Alliance recognizes that errors were made in our approach to your species. We seek to correct those errors and establish peaceful relations." "An admirable goal," Chen nodded. "But first, there must be understanding. You believed us primitive because we allowed you to see only what we wished you to see. This has been our strategy for millennia, to appear harmless until threatened. Your technology," Thorix began cautiously, "it is beyond our understanding." Chen smiled slightly. "Necessity drove our development. Isolated in our system, we turned our focus inward and upward. We mastered quantum mechanics, dark energy manipulation, gravitational engineering. Without external trade or knowledge exchange, we developed along paths different from yours. And your military capabilities are extensive," Chen acknowledged, "but not our primary achievement. We value creation over destruction. However, we will defend ourselves when necessary." The meeting continued for hours, with humans revealing aspects of their society, their governance, their values. They spoke of a united Earth, of colonies throughout their system, of a civilization that had overcome its internal divisions to focus on advancement. Finally, Exorix asked the question foremost in every Alliance mind. "What are your demands?" Chen looked surprised. "We make no demands. We offer a proposal. Earth will join the Galactic Alliance as a full member, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. In return, we will share certain technologies, particularly in medicine, environmental restoration, and sustainable energy." "And the technologies that defeated our fleet?" Krell asked bluntly. "Those remain ours alone," Chen said firmly. "Just as I'm certain the Alliance retains proprietary military advancements." The negotiations lasted weeks. The humans proved to be skilled diplomats, firm in their boundaries but generous in their offerings. They proposed joint scientific ventures, cultural exchanges, trade agreements beneficial to all parties. Gradually, the fear that had gripped the Alliance began to fade, replaced by cautious curiosity. The humans were not the monsters they had feared, nor were they the primitives they had dismissed. When the final agreement was signed, a new era began. Human ships emerged from Sol's system for the first time in millennia, not as conquerors, but as explorers, traders, and diplomats. Human technology, what they were willing to share, revolutionized fields across Alliance space. But the warning remained, unspoken but understood by all. Humanity had shown restraint when provoked. They had offered peace when they could have chosen war. But throughout the galaxy, the memory of those black ships cutting through the Alliance's finest vessels lingered. Never provoke humanity. Never threaten their world. For beneath their peaceful overtures lay a power that could turn the galaxy to ash. And they were watching. Always watching.